Hello everyone, it's me, Clayton. I just got back from watching Trolls World Tour. Now, with the coronavirus continuing to go on, and with us never being able to leave our friggin' houses for the time being, Universal has decided to essentially do something that has never been done before in the history of cinema. Release their multi-million-dollar budget animated film on streaming platforms so we still have something to watch in the meantime. And Trolls World Tour, for those who are fans of the original, it delivers more colorful animation, absurd comedy, and a ton of sing-along songs. But let's get to the story, shall we? The story is, after the events of the first Trolls movie, Poppy has become queen of the Pop Trolls. And it seems like everything's going all nice and hunky-dory, until Queen Barb, the queen of the Rock Trolls, comes to take these magical strings that represent the different types of music that the trolls create. These strings include rock, pop, techno, classical, country, and funk. And she plans to get all the strings and turn everyone into rock zombies, so rock's the only form of music around. So Poppy has to basically unite with her friend Branch, played by Justin Timberlake, Biggie, played by James Corden, and a few other friends in order to stop Barb, played by Rachel Bloom, and save the world, essentially. So the plot definitely is something we've seen several times before. You could say even the 6 MacGuffins that are the strings of music could be compared to the Infinity Stones in Marvel, but the plot itself is really just a way to get from one location to the next, and for us to expand on the world of Trolls. And the first movie, in my opinion, was definitely a mixed bag. It certainly had a lot of colorful animation and great songs, but the story and characters were pretty one note. It was very easily seen as a little kids movie. And while this definitely transpires over to this one as well, it does feel like the humor and the animation and the songs are a big improvement over the original. I love how the comedy manages to go into full-on absurdity for most of its better jokes, such as the various musical video sequences that completely break reality. There is a hallucination scene involving a jazz bounty hunter troll that might just be one of the craziest mind trips you'll ever go through. And several of the songs happen to be covers of popular ones, like "Rock You Like a Hurricane" and "Crazy Train," that are performed by Rachel Bloom as Queen Barb. Speaking of which, Barb herself is a pretty entertaining villain. You can tell Rachel Bloom's having the time of her life as the character, and the fact that Ozzy Osbourne plays her father, King Thrash, is pretty fun too. In fact, the whole voice cast is pretty loaded with pop stars and other stars of music, like Kelly Clarkson plays the country music queen. Pretty much everyone who had major roles in the first film returns here, and they include practically every kind of music throughout this film. It isn't just pop songs through and through when it comes to the soundtrack. And I think that does help because there's a type of music for basically anyone watching to enjoy. Now, it is true that the tone is definitely the same kind of overly sweet, overly optimistic about nearly everything tone that the first film had, and the pastel colors and the amount of glitter everywhere kind of shows you that it's going for the same young audience that the first film did. But if you're a fan of that sort of thing, that shouldn't be an issue. If you're not, then this movie clearly isn't for you. I do think that the plot not only can get predictable, but it does feel like certain characters are only along for the ride because they're big stars. For example, James Corden gets to be in a big part of the movie, but it feels like he's only really there because he's a big star, so obviously he gets to have a big part. And you could say the same for Justin Timberlake as Branch, since he's only there half the time just to be sarcastic in comparison to Poppy's constant optimism. And I do like the overall message of diversity and believing and accepting others' differences and showing that others' differences can often make us more creative and more inspired. It's definitely a positive message to have for kids, and it certainly helps that the film's focus on it doesn't feel half-baked. It feels completely devoted to it. I think in these strange times that we're in, we need an optimistic movie like this in order to help us get through these strange times. So with its so I do think this is a improvement over the first film. Does it have its flaws with its storytelling and some of its characters? Sure. But I definitely needed a movie like this with its songs, with its animation, and with its crazy humor to help me get through this crazy scenario. That's why I'm going to give Trolls World Tour a 7.5 out of 10. See you next time.